Right, well, welcome to Leaderslive, everybody. Short countdown timer to help the various live feeds catch up and settle down and all that sort of stuff. So we're just waiting for the feeds to come up. Yeah, we can't wait for today's groovy show, folks. Oh, and we've lost Cheryl again. We're having a bit of internet problems this morning. So Cheryl's going to have to keep logging in and out. I don't know what's happened there. So we're hanging out with Director of Niche Consultancy Effectiv8 Ltd and sales expert Cheryl Harding, and we'll be chatting about sales strategy for the real world. Ooh, in fact, I think that we can do it. Ooh. Hi Cheryl, give us a quick wave. Okay, so quick hello.
Hello everyone.
Hi, great to have you on the show. Absolute pleasure. We'll come back to you in a moment. And helping us engage, we have Birdie and Hugo, our fab moderator, chipping in, and she'll be keeping the interaction flowing. Give us a quick hello and a quick wave, Birdie.
Hi everyone. Today, Andrew, I think we need to touch on the sales hurdle that most companies face. And I think Cheryl is going to bring it home for us today.
Cheryl's going to bring it home for us today. Let me just see what's going on here. We've got some problems here with Cheryl joining. There we go. Okay, we're on. Super. So, yeah, we've got a few internet problems today. So, music by my Uncle Peter, and I think Elaine's trying to dial in at the moment. So we'll grab you in a moment, Elaine. No problem. 50th Leaderslive show, fantastic. You know, we've all been part of this growing community that feels really exciting to us. So please let me know if our audio's coming through okay too, folks. And yeah, so oi people, I can see the feed starting to get busy, which is good. Just bringing up the feed now, so just bear with me a minute. I can't do two things at once, you know how it is. And just bear with me. Cheryl's just logged out again by accident. There we go.
I am back.
There we go. We're back. So
I have no idea what's going on.
No, we've got a few internet issues today. So oi people, it's Leaderslive showtime, folks. It's just after 8:45 here in the UK. And if you're new to Leaderslive and you don't know me, I'm Andrew Jenkins, and we are live with Leaderslive, spreading the love. Yappa dabba do. We're streaming out on LinkedIn, we're streaming out on YouTube, we're streaming out Facebook groups or two, Twitter, Twitch, we think. We still don't know how that works. Ta-da! And if you can't catch us on live or the replayed, fear not, my friends, we have you covered. We've got Cheryl Harding joining again for some reason. Right, here we go. Right, there we go. Yeah, we've got a bouncy internet connection at the moment, so I don't know whether it's worth rebooting, Cheryl, and we'll join you in a moment if you like, if that helps.
I can do.
Or we can just carry on the way we're going at the moment.
It seems pretty stable on this side, but I'm not sure what's happening.
Let's just see how we get along. So, if you don't know me, I'm Andrew Jenkins. If you're new to the show, that is, and we've got you covered with podcasts as well. So remember too, it's an interactive show, folks, so please get involved, join us, ask questions, network with a live community, and even a bit of friendly banter that was certainly going on last week when we tried that. I think we've still got Cheryl, that's all good.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh boy, great stuff. So put it all together, and what do we got? Yep, you've got it, bibbity bobbity boo. So also brand new, we're still experimenting with our new 5-minute interlude slot on Leaderslive again today, folks, called Get to Know You in 5, and we are briefly featuring a regular person who comes regularly to the show, so we can get to know each other, put a face to a name, and then today we've got regular contributor Elaine Godley coming on, so you can put Elaine's face to her name, and I think that's a wow. So, and we're just bringing in Cheryl again, so yeah, we've got a bit of a wobbly connection, as I said today, so let's just change scenes. So let's bring Cheryl in. Where are we? Side by side. Here we go. Right. Hey. So, hey. Cheryl, tell us a bit about where you're taking us today.
I thought it would be good to just have a conversation about sales strategy, and why the sales function is so important.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit about how to get them to perform well.
to get your sales team to perform well. So this is called this title is called Sales Strategy for the Real World, and I think that might deserve a ooh. And at the end of the show, Cheryl's got a comprehensive handout for us, so you've got some documentation of where we're heading today. And you've got a question for us as well, Cheryl, to start us off. What's your question for the audience this morning, so we can start to interact with everybody?
It was just about, do you think that companies understand sales strategy?
Do you think companies understand sales strategy? There you go, folks. So we can have that in the chat. And we've just lost Elaine. We've just lost Cheryl for a minute, so she'll come back in a moment. So good morning, Samuel. There we go. Brought
Yep,
Cheryl back
obviously
in.
my question was so powerful.
It had dropped out the internet.
But I was just asking, do you think companies understand sales strategies?
Okay, so there's the question to get you going. Good morning from Denmark, Jonas. Good morning, Joe Cooper. Joe Cooper's on next week, actually, talking about Is Print Dead? So we can't wait for that. And also, good morning, Thomas King. Yeah, hurdles, spot on. Salutations from Durban, Thomas King, fantastic. And Andrew Bryant, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jack. Good morning, Elaine. We'll bring you on shortly. Good morning, Matthias, Adrian Chase, Cecile, Claire Milverton. Good morning. And okay. And we've got a few questions coming up very shortly too. So, so quick switch to the moderator scene. So during the countdown, I briefly introduced Berdine, our moderator, and here's a chance to say a bit more, Berdine. So hi, Berdine.
Hi, Andrew. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I see that we've got some new faces today also joining us, so that's very exciting. Besides that, Cheryl, looking forward to the discussion with you today, and just tapping into the sales strategies of companies and getting them to fully understand how they can take it to the next level. I think it's definitely, as I said before, it's a hurdle most companies face, and they don't know where to go from there.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that. We'll come to the what's going on in the chat. There's quite a lot going on in the chat at the moment. We'll come back to that in a moment. And we've just lost Cheryl again. So we'll come back to Cheryl as well in just a tick. So as mentioned, Leaderslive is an interactive show. Just let Cheryl join again. There we go. It's an interactive show, so please join in. Don't be shy, folks. Use the comments for questions and engage with us as we're doing right now. Engage with each other as well. Remember, it's a group conversation. You know how it goes, folks. So, smash those likes too for us as well. Just trying to find that particular... where are we? I'm all over the place today. I can't find that screen, but never mind. Oh yeah, here we go. So smash those likes too, folks. Give us some thumbs up as we're going along. That's really appreciate that. It just keeps us motivated as we're going. Please subscribe to the Leaderslive YouTube community channel as well. The link will be in the chat. Bernie will pop that in. And it's a group effort, so we're trying to grow our LinkedIn, our YouTube stuff. So please help us in that. So back to you, Cheryl, and just before we begin, let's just give you a round of applause, Cheryl. I think we've just lost Cheryl again, I think. Oh yes, we've lost Cheryl, so we'll come to Cheryl in a moment. Don't know what's happened there. So we've got a dodgy internet connection with at the moment, so let's just bring these side by side up and wait for Cheryl. So while we're doing that, let's just Berdine, what's happening in the comments while we wait for Cheryl to come back in?
Okay, I'll just start going through some
yes, please.
Comments then. Matthias said, I don't always think they fully understand. And then Jana said, some do and some clearly don't, which is true. And that's why sales are one of the hurdles companies do face. Good morning, Jamie Radford. Laurie said, I think a good many commercial companies do. I don't think most government contracting companies do at all.
Okay, just remind us of the question so if people are joining us, they know what we're answering here.
Then Adrian, the question that we are responding to
is, do people understand
do you
sales?
Do you think companies understand sales strategies?
There we go. Okay, thank you.
So, yeah.
Carry on.
Then Adrian said, like all things in life, if you're not sure, employ an expert.
There we go.
Yes, that is true.
Brilliant. Okie dokie.
Oh, Maria
Morning, Maria.
said, everyone in the organization needs to be sales focused, as without sales, no success for anyone. Sales teams should be supported by marketing and lead generation. In my experience, this doesn't always happen, and the salesperson does all of this too. That is very true. Everyone in the company needs a bit of sales background, even if it's going for a course or training or something in that direction.
Okay,
Cheryl's
thank you.
back.
So, yeah, we've got Cheryl back in the room. Brilliant. Oh, yeah, brilliant. Carry on, buddy. We're just going through the comments, Cheryl, so we can give you time to catch up.
That's okay. I came on a different browser, so I'm hoping it's more stable.
Okay, right. Brilliant idea. Carry on, buddy. We're just going through the comments.
Okay, Joe said, some companies expect a quick hit from their sales force. Rajesh said, how to change strategies at the first moment if the plan not worked.
Oh, that's a question, isn't it? How do we change strategies? Yeah. So, Cheryl, I just wonder whether you want to jump in there.
So, what's the question? How do we change strategies?
In the first moment, if the plan doesn't work, if the first plan doesn't work.
Well, I would say the very first thing is to have a strategy.
Yeah.
You know, I've thrown that question out there, but I think the answer, and I've worked across industry for many, many years now, and I think companies get the sales target confused with the sales strategy.
Right.
A lot of times when you say to companies, well, what's your sales strategy? They come up with the target. This is what we're trying to do. This is what we're doing. And I think the first thing is to take a step back and understand what a sales strategy is. Do you, for example, understand what type of sales you're in? Are you in a transactional selling environment? Are you in a consultative selling environment? They're very, very, very different. They need different people. They need different strategies. And a lot of times companies need 2 or 3 different sales strategies because they've got different target audiences, or they've got a different product set or a service set.
Okay.
So I think the very first thing is to really understand the type of sales you're in and the audience that you're trying to get to. If you know those 2 things, then you can start to put a sales strategy together.
Okay.
And everything is wrapped up. And I think the handout that you'll get afterwards will show you 7 different things that wrap up to really turn strategy into revenue. But you can't just have a sales strategy. You can't just have a CRM. You can't have a process, for example. The only way that you know that it's not working quickly is if you have measurables. You can't manage what you don't measure.
Okay. So measurables are an important part.
So if you have measurables, you can tell if it's not working pretty quickly.
Yeah, and change strategy.
And then you can stop and take different action.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for that. Hope that helps you, Rajesh. Carry on, Berdine. What else is going on?
Matthias said, I would say that sales are mainly based on interpersonal skills, the ability to identify the customer's needs and be able to renew your strategy as times are changing.
Nice one, Matthias. Yeah, what are your thoughts there, Cheryl? Just pick that one up.
Yeah, a big part of it is interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
The challenge with that is that sometimes is confused with personality. And you cannot scale personality. So if you want a scalable sales team, so you want to grow that sales group and grow the company and increase the value of the company, you have to have scalable process skill, and you cannot scale personality. So what you need is a really good sales process that people can wrap their personality around.
Oh, I like that. So a good sales process to wrap people's personalities
Yeah, and
around.
a good analogy to use is if everybody thinks of a skeleton,
Yeah.
we all have a really similar skeleton, but we look completely different.
Mm.
So you want that process to be the skeleton that gives you the strength, that gives you the
Okay.
shape, and people can wrap their personality around it. They can adapt it for different situations, different clients, etc.
Yeah. Nice analogy. That great. I like that. I'm sure Jonas will resonate with that. He's into exoskeletons, so that's interesting. We'll come on to that a little bit later, perhaps. So, yeah, Berdine, carry on.
Thomas said, I feel sometimes the strategy doesn't align with the brand personality. And Adrian said that Thomas is making a very good point here.
Yeah.
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 So
Well done, Adrian.
brand
Yeah.
personality
And
comes
Thomas.
into marketing, doesn't it?
Mm.
So your sales and marketing sometimes go like this. What they should
Yeah.
do
Is
is go
mesh.
like that.
Yeah.
And I recommend that within a company that sales and marketing come under the same umbrella. You know,
Ooh.
it's a controversial view. And I don't think there's a right or a wrong thing. Sometimes it's just making a decision and then making the decision right. But to me, if you're not careful, sales and marketing go into two silos
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
need to be one team.
Yeah, particularly in today's world with
Yeah.
fast sales and marketing, the two are coming very, very close together, aren't they? Almost the same thing in some ways.
Yeah, two sides of a coin, but they're the same coin. They're
Love
the
that.
same coin.
Two sides to the coin. I'm just writing that down. Two sides of coin. Yep, thank you. Lovely. Okay, so Jack. Morning, Jack. Sorry, Berdine, carry on.
Jack said, I think companies understand sales strategies. What I think some companies miss is the relationship part of the process. People buy from people.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Yeah.
agree more.
Couldn't agree more. And
Well,
Jack is a great relator of people as well. So, yeah, and
yeah.
he's a sales director. So,
So that links back to what I was saying about transactional and consultative.
yeah.
The relationship part in the consultative arena is key.
Yeah.
Absolutely key. The transactional arena, actually the sales function is disappearing in the transactional arena, and it is more marketing led.
Yeah.
It's more marketing led, it's becoming more automated. So if if a company doesn't understand the relationship side, what that tells you sometimes is they're taking a transactional view. So it's quite an old fashioned view, maybe, of sales and how to approach it, rather than thinking about the relationship side of things. And that's a really different approach. It's a really different approach. The consultative side of the arena is where sales is coming to its own. You know, the sales function is more valuable than ever in that space.
So you're contrasting consultative to what again?
To
Just so we get that-
transactional.
To transaction,
So
right.
if I could, to give you a quick summary so that if in case anybody doesn't understand it, because I'm making the assumption that people do understand it, you come at it from the buyer's point of view.
Yeah.
So in the transactional arena, basically the buyer is, I need a widget.
Yeah.
I know which widget I need, and
Yeah.
I need to figure out where's the best place I can get that widget. So most of the times the decision's made on price and availability. I'm generalizing here.
Okay.
In the consultative side, the buyer has a need or a want. There's more than one option. And not only do they think are they willing to have a conversation, they probably think they should have a conversation to try and figure out what's the best option.
Yeah. Okay.
So in that side, it is sales driven, marketing supported.
Yeah.
In the transactional side, it is marketing driven, sales supported.
Sales supported. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So it depends on what you're producing. If it's more knowledge based, like consultancy or whatever, we've been obviously more consultative, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And is there a trend moving more towards the consultative side, even for people selling widgets?
Both.
Both.
Both are equally valid.
Right.
It's not that one's better than the other. They're just different.
Different
really
approaches.
different.
Okay.
What you cannot have is the same salesperson trying to sell both.
Oh, okay. So they're different skill sets.
Different skill set, different mindsets, actually.
Different mindset,
So
better
if
word.
you're a company that has sales in that transactional space and the consultative space, you need two different strategies and you need two different sales approaches. You cannot have somebody trying to sell both. It doesn't work. The other thing is moving salespeople from transactional to consultative. There's over a 70% failure rate.
Oh, right. Interesting. 70% failure rate going from transactional to consultative.
Yeah.
Right. Why is that? Just out of interest.
I was wondering if you were going to ask that. So the person who did a lot of the research on this is Neil Rackham.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of work since his early work on Spin. He's done a lot on sales and marketing, working together, etc. And I asked him, I said, is it because people can't make that leap, or is it because companies haven't thought about the differences and had a plan to move them? He said, in his opinion, it's primarily the latter.
It's a plan. It's understanding it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a skill to understanding it and then
Yeah.
putting something in place to make that transition.
But some people can't make that leap.
Okay.
You know, you can lead
Yeah.
a horse to water. It doesn't make it a duck. So it's not, you know, you're not moving,
Yeah, got it. Okay. Right, we'll give you a quick break for a minute. Let's catch up with the chat and then we'll move on. Berdine, what else is this busy chat this morning? What else is going on?
Jonas said, at least here in Denmark, one part of the problem is that especially the older generation of CEOs believe that cold calling is the only way. Furthermore, this leads to a belief that there is no need for a strategy in the first place.
Interesting.
Oh my word.
Right.
Where to start, Jonas? I'll give you a stat
Right.
that will knock that in the head straight away. In a business to business environment, over 86% of business to business purchasing decisions start with some type of introduction or referral. Now, that's two ways. One can be, I'm working with you, your company, you're really pleased with me, and I ask you to introduce me to people. More often than not, it's you have some type of need or want, and you go to your peer group and you ask for recommendations. So over 86%. Cold calling,
86%.
especially if you're doing business to business and you're trying to get in at a decent level, cold calling is not a good use of your time.
Okay. So are you saying cold calling is dead then, that 86% thing?
It's not completely dead. I mean, if you've nothing else, then it's something.
Yeah.
But then what happens is people then get something out of it and they use that as oh, look, see, it does work. Here's a whole justification. But if you use that time working on a different strategy and trying to work your way in and get introductions and stuff, then you will get far better results.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Very great. Okay. Carry on, Berdine.
Elaine said, interesting that the personality conversation is in the mix here. I agree. S&M, sales and marketing, definitely together.
Yeah. Okay. So that's picking up on that point a bit earlier on. Yeah.
The
Yes.
personality thing you need to be careful with. There's a real myth out there that there's a certain personality that makes a good salesperson. Absolute nonsense.
Interesting.
If I see that Elaine uses DISC, I mean, there's 5 or 6 really good profiling tools out there. And I can tell you that every single profile that's out there can make a good salesperson if they're selling to their strengths and in the right business environment. 2 of the best producing salespeople I ever worked with were high analyticals.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's uncharacteristic stereotype, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, there's a stereotype, and you need to be careful that you don't recruit a profile.
Yeah, which a lot of people do, right? They like to recruit their.
Yeah.
Well, Elaine can tell us, but my guess is a lot of sales teams recruit sort of more on the kind of assertive side, right? Am I right there? As a stereotype? Elaine will know more about this.
Yeah, it's a stereotype. It's same with the stereotype of sales. There's a stereotype of salespeople in general, you know, and it's just nonsense.
Okay, thank you. Right, Berdine.
Elaine, Sarah Hughes said, good
morning, Sarah. Yeah.
Elaine said people buy from people regardless of the strategy.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then Adrian said potential customer wants aren't always what they need. Great question will help identify this. Great questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Spot on, Adrian.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we like that. Yeah. Oh, I think we've got Elaine Godley just coming in here. Just bear with me. I'll just bring her in. I'll just leave her in the green room. She's going to join us later. So we've got you, Elaine. We'll come on to you a little bit later. So, okay. So yeah, spot on, Adrian. And Elaine also said this, didn't she, Birding? Is this? Yeah.
Yes. Moving a good salesperson to sales manager often fails too. Different skill sets and personality.
Right. I think that's what you were alluding to earlier, wasn't it, Cheryl?
Yes, yeah, but again, be careful that you don't think that there's a profile that makes a good
A perfect
manager,
profile.
because
Yeah.
again, it's not. Every personality style can be good in management. It just, if they're using their strengths.
Yeah.
But I completely agree that, so often I see it. We take our best salespeople, we make them managers. We've lost our good salesperson, and we've created a mediocre manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, indeed. Okay. And then Sarah says that I love this. I love that, Cheryl Harding. You can lead a horse to water, but it doesn't make it a duck. Brilliant. I think, I don't know where you are, Sarah, at the moment. You're still in Tenerife. So Sarah's digitally nomading at the moment. So fascinating. We can't wait to have her on the show to talk about that in a couple of weeks' time. And Claire, Burdin, is there a comment from Claire Milverton somewhere here as well?
Claire Milverton asked, does cold calling work better for more transactional sales?
Yeah, I was wondering that actually. Spot on. Yeah,
Yes, it
good
can
question.
do.
Yeah, I
It
thought the
can
same.
do.
Yeah.
It can do, especially because a lot of the more transactional stuff tends to be business to consumer,
Yeah.
or business to small business. So cold calling can work better in that environment. A big push now, and the difference between now and 15 years ago and this type of stuff is the internet. So that's why in this space, marketing has really come into the forefront. Where I
Exactly.
think marketing
Yeah.
has struggled is in the business to business side. And a lot of times marketing tries to take the same strategy that works in business to consumer and shove it into business to business, and it just doesn't work.
In what ways doesn't it work? Tell us a bit more about that. That's quite interesting. That.
Well, there's a real thing with, and I'm a big supporter of marketing. I don't pretend to be a marketeer at all. Big supporter of marketing.
Yeah.
In the transactional side, a lot of the marketing is about brand awareness, but it's also about lead generation and then bringing people in to be able to buy. In what I find in the business to business, and especially the more complex sales, etc., that doesn't work. You
Right.
don't you don't have people that just see something, go, oh, you know what, I'll buy that. It just doesn't work. The salesperson comes into their own. And going back to whoever talked about good questions, in
Yeah.
that consultative side, when you look at your processes and stuff, you need to have what I call an explore zone. And that zone is where there could be many meetings in that zone, depending on your sales cycle. But that zone is about finding out about what they really need, and also about their business. So you're absolutely right. Sometimes what people say they want is not what they need.
Back to needs and wants again, isn't it? And that's where the sales process comes in to really understand the difference between that. So what
Yeah.
someone thinks they want and what they need might be different,
Yeah.
right?
And we talked about the internet and stuff. Sometimes the internet has meant that people are far more informed. It doesn't mean they're accurately informed, but they're more informed.
Okay. Yeah. Indeed, I get that. Yeah. That's quite classic around car selling and things like that. Now people know what they want before they even go into the showroom, right? Okay. Fine. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Berdine, back to you again. Busy this morning.
Jonas just commented on what you said, Cheryl, before on his previous comment, saying, agreed, that was my point as well. The problem is to get it through to the leader. It's with regards to the cold calling. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I come up against that problem sometimes when I'm working with companies that are owner led. There's two challenges that happen in owner-led businesses. One is that they they don't really understand sales, and it's back. But the other thing is that it's all wrapped around their personality, and what they don't have is they don't have a sales strategy. The sales strategy is them going out and schmoozing.
Schmoozing, okay, yeah. We need to talk about that. So, what is a good sales strategy then? Let's we'll come back to some of these comments later. But what makes talk to us about sales strategy? So, there's clearly an understanding that people don't really understand what it is. So, give us a little bit more about that.
So, to put a good sales strategy together, you need a couple of things to start off with. You need to really understand who your target audience is, and then you need to make sure that what you're offering can be put into their terms. So you have a good value proposition that is in their words. Once you have those things, then you can start to put a good sales strategy together. You're looking and you're saying, what are our channels to get to them? What channels are we in? What channels do we need to be in?
Yeah.
And also, and this sounds so obvious, and I apologize if people think that I'm teaching you to suck eggs here. Fish where the fish are.
Fish where the fish are.
Where are your prospects? I watched a company once put a whole digital marketing strategy together. They wasted £14 million and got zero revenue from it because their audience wasn't on digital.
Gosh.
Digital marketing is phenomenal when it's used in the right way and your audience is there. But if your audience isn't, but
it's a tough lesson, isn't
they
it?
Had a great digital strategy and a ping pong table, for the team. Nothing came from it. Not 1 ounce of revenue. So fish where the fish are. Those channels, where are they? How do you get into them? From there, you need to look at what marketing collateral you need. You also need to look at the sales process. A lot of times companies only have a pipeline that measures from quote or proposal onwards. It needs to go all the way back to leads.
Okay.
And you need to be able to look and see what is in the lead category, what has been moved into the explore category or the explore zone, which is where you're actually engaging in conversation with the client and starting to find out stuff. Only when that has happened, then do you go into the solution zone, and then you go into close and kick off. So I've sort of jumped there, but the reason for that is you need to understand the controllables to get your strategy to come to life. And the controllables are activity, etc. It's not about micromanagement. It's about giving your people the tools to be successful. And if your sales cycle is 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever it is, how do they know that what they're doing today is going to lead them to business coming out of the pipeline in 6 months' time?
That's the thing, isn't it? And that's hard, isn't it? You have to continually measure it.
So you need to you need to manage controllables.
Yeah.
Once it gets to the solution and further on, those are influenceables, but the controllables are at the front end of the pipeline.
So that lead generation and exploring those leads, then that's where the blur between sales and marketing is as well. Then in that case, is that correct, Cheryl?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So and it's about having the different types of lead generation. Don't rely on one. Don't rely on one. I think you need to have 3 or 4 types of lead generation going on at any one time, so that if one isn't bringing in the results, the others can compensate for it.
That's really interesting. So first of all is know who your audience are. Secondly was offering, having a good value proposition, I think, wasn't it? And then thirdly was...
And your offering has to be written in the terms of from the client's view.
What the customer's looking for. So that value proposition is about where the customer's wearing the customer's shoes, not your shoes, right?
Yeah. Okay. A really good, readily available tool that I would recommend to everyone, and it's free on the thing, is there's a tool called the Business Model Canvas.
Oh, I've got that. Yeah, I use that.
It's a great tool, and I just adapt it very slightly and use it to put sales strategies together. Within that, there is a value proposition canvas, and it helps you with the type of questions to be asking internally to get your messaging right and to get it in the client's terms. They're really good tools, readily available.
Yeah, so Berdine, if there's any chance you can look that up while we're talking, that'll be handy. Shove it in the link. Brilliant book. I've got all of those, and they're really easy to read.
Business model generation book. It has examples in it and stuff. Really good book.
Okay, brilliant. So while Berdine's doing that, I'll just catch us up in the chat. So Sarah's calling from North Tenerife today. So brilliant. We can't wait to hear your journey as well, Sarah. So Thomas King says, what is your opinion on giving salesperson equity in the business? Oh, that's a good question. Nice one, Thomas.
Okay. I don't think you should give people anything. I think they should have to earn it. Oh. So one of the mistakes I see people making is they give people equity on entry to the business. Why would you do that?
So
you don't know if they're going to be successful or not. So I would have it where at the end of the year, they can earn part of their bonuses, they can earn equity in it. The concept of having equity in the business, absolutely. The more that just gets you bought into it. It's your business, then you're helping to grow it.
Yeah, so the concept's fine.
Just give people anything, make sure they earn it.
Make sure they earn it and deserve it. Gotcha. Okay. So Sarah just says, long time since I've heard the word schmoozing. You've got some great words. Schmoozing. Brilliant. Jonah says, exactly. A lot of small companies in Denmark are owned and run by the same person. And the issue is that the owner's personality can ruin the whole company. Yeah, I think that's alluding to where we were, wasn't it? And
a lot of times that personality gets the business to a certain point.
Yeah.
But then it can't get further.
Can't get further.
Until they move the personality. The other thing is, if they want to sell the business it's devalued if it's so dependent on them.
Yeah, and that is the small business dilemma, isn't it? You've got to get through that growing pain, haven't you? And get your processes right. So Matteo says this is very interesting as it's related to what I'm working on, difference between management and leadership. Managers tend to focus on targets and KPIs when leaders focus on the process and people working towards the goal. Can be a source of conflict. He's figured it out, he says. Brilliant. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of times leadership is a word that's banded around, isn't it? Yeah. People are sent on leadership courses, and it's like to me, the definition of a leader is they have people that want to follow them. Otherwise you're not a leader. Yeah. But the management part is crucial.
Yeah,
the sergeants run the army. Okay? Your sales managers are your sergeants. And most of the time, they have never been trained in how to be a good sales manager.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not fair. It's not fair. We assume that they can, because they've been good salespeople, that they can become good managers. Or if they're a people person, they're great with people. You need to teach them how to run one-to-ones, how to manage the controllables at the front end of the pipeline, how to shadow people in the field, how to give coaching in the field, how to be a selling manager. You need to teach them these things.
I really like that. That's really important. A massive point here. I mean, we're just giving it away quickly, but it's a huge point, isn't it? A few months ago, I had Chris James on talking about the importance of sales training for sales managers, particularly, so that they can, do the right job for their salespeople and the team itself. Absolutely crucial. And what you're saying is the sergeants run the army, and they get training, right? And yet, does the sales manager get the training that he or she deserves? And that's a crucial point. So that's well made. Thank you for that.
Somebody said something about companies with limited budgets. I saw something there. One of the things I would say is, if you have a limited budget for training, spend it on your sales managers. And then get them to train your salespeople. Yeah.
So put some budget towards your training your sales managers, and if it's scarce, then put it there. That's where you need to put it. Okay, got it. There. Okay, thank you for that. Berdine, are you? I see the link's gone in. I think Mateus found it, which is amazing.
I don't know whether the links.
No, Mateus has found it, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's it. Strategizer.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, well done, Mateus. He's on it. You brilliant. Okay. So, Berdine, I think Jo says this comment, doesn't she? Excellent point, Cheryl. I agree. Companies don't sometimes see what's happening at the beginning of a sale, or sales leads, etc., or the understanding. Oh, where has he gone? Or the understanding of what a salesperson is putting before the quote stage.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you don't know that, if you don't know what happens before a quote stage, how do you manage your people? How do you know what they're good at? How do you know where they need help? How do you know if you've got enough coming in and make the decision to fix it if there isn't? Or you don't.
No, fine. Yeah, so that's the key thing, isn't it? Okay, thank you. Berdine, just finish us off and then we'll pop over to have a quick interlude with Elaine.
Okay, so Joe just thanked Matthias. Jack said Thomas King should be an incentive, but not given, in my opinion.
Oh, that's
it must be something
piece,
that you guys have.
Yeah.
Jack said, if you don't teach people first, you're essentially setting them up for failure.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Adrian said, when I worked in retail, I went from a shop manager to area manager and was a totally different job.
Yeah, totally. And it needs different training. I think is what Adrian is alluding to there. Absolutely. Different role, different training. Okay. So listen, we're going to pop on to bring Elaine in. So we're going to have a quick interlude for 5 minutes while we just introduce the Get to Know You slot in 5 minutes. So let me just bring that slide up and then assign... where are we? What number is it? Elaine Godley. I think it's 3. There we go. Oh, hello, Elaine. Oh, there we go. Elaine's on an iPhone today, so her computer, we had computer problems this morning. So you're sorry to hear that your laptop just bust and is no longer working at the moment. I hope you can get it repaired.
Yeah, it's in the shop. It was just I spilt water on it, but it's my own fault.
Oh no! Oh dear me! Oh dear. Well, let's hope it can all dry out and it's okay, Elaine. So, Elaine, you've been joining into the chat on the sales side of things, and you do DISC, don't you? So tell us a bit about that and what you do, Elaine, and how we can help you.
Yeah, I do DISC, and it's fascinating. I can't get myself in the picture here. I'm trying to work my phone. Sorry about this.
That's all right. See if we can help you.
So I do DISC, and I was just writing in the comment when you were bringing me on thing, but the comment didn't go up. We do need different personalities for different parts of the process. So, of course, yes, we need a process and we need all the lovely things that Cheryl was talking about, but we need to recognise that we have different skill sets, but we also have the different personalities and skill sets don't go together. So the personality and the skill set are two different things. So, yes, the training is crucial, and you can't train a monkey to make a silk purse or whatever the thing is, so you have to have the right people in the right slots doing the right things. It's as simple as that. But profiling is great, but it's only one part of the picture. At the end of the day, we need all the other bits, as Cheryl's saying.
Yeah, thank you. So is there anything that we can help you with as a group? What are the kind of things that you would like from the group or the group to know about what you do, Elaine?
Well, I'm actually using profiling these days for health and wellbeing, because of my own situation. I had cancer a few times and sorted that all out, and it's my profile, my personality that made me whole again, shall we say. Also the thing that got me into trouble. So recognition that business leaders, business managers, we're so busy, in the business, we're not looking after our health. So I'm using profiling now as a key tool to help business leaders with their health and well-being. And I can actually tell by looking at a profile whether somebody is ill already, what they're likely to be ill with, how severe their situation is, how long it's been going on, just by looking at the profile. I've had my own tool created, so that's where I'm at with DISC these days, as well as the usual team stuff with it as well, and recruitment.
So it sounds like you found links with the personality profiling stuff in DISC to wellbeing, and some sort of, depending on the kind of blend and the preferences people have, can lead to different sort of wellbeing issues. Is that correct, Elaine?
Absolutely, and we're all predisposed. Our behaviour style is the thing that links it. So how we behave affects our health and well-being. So it's mindset, it's physical behaviour as well. It's a complicated thing, but actually, when you know what it's about, it's quite straightforward. So I'm now starting to do training in that area for companies.
Brilliant. So the whole wellbeing area. And what about sales? So we're talking about sales today, and there's clearly a good link between what you do and the whole sales side of things, Elaine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say when I do training that anybody can sell, anybody at all, but it depends. You would need a different salesperson for a technical product than you would do for something that's more, I don't know, more, I can't think of descriptions, but more fancy sort of pretty things. Whereas if you want technical things, you need a different mindset, a different type of personality to deal with that.
Yeah, and I think, Cheryl, you echo that, don't you? You were talking about the difference of skill sets between transactional and consultative selling, and that it needs different skill sets, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for that. And so if you're looking for any wellbeing information or sort of help with wellbeing and sales training from a personality side of things, and how sales and wellbeing can affect your business, then please contact Elaine. I'm sure she'll be glad to help you. So quick fire questions for you, Elaine, before we get back onto the main feed again, so the main subject again. So can you describe yourself in 3 words, Elaine?
Direct, honest, ethical.
There we go. So direct, honest and ethical. Thank you. And things on your bucket list.
I don't have a bucket list. I was given less than a year to live in 2015. Every day I live my bucket. I live in my bucket every day. Every day is a blessing.
That's amazing. Yeah, and that's sort of 7 years clear then, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Wow, brilliant. Yeah, I think Thomas King just says this. Very interesting, Elaine. I'm interested in stress, and I use running to manage stress. How do you manage anxiety? Have you got any hints and tips for Thomas while we're just talking through this?
It depends on the personality style. So that's my starting point. So we do a DISC behavioural profile using my system, and then we look at where you are on the scale of things. And very often I've had grown men crying when they see their behavioural profile style and how they realise their behaviours got in the way of their leadership, their management, their relationships, and so on and so forth. So it depends. Every style. We all have anxiety from one level or another, but it's how we deal with it, and each personality style will deal with it in a different way. So it's not, I can't give a general answer really. That's as best I can get.
Brilliant. So Thomas, if you want to reach out to Elaine, I'm sure she would help you further. So thank you for that. Favourite food? Let's get back onto some trivia. Favourite food?
Anything plant-based. I've just started growing my own over here. I'm in the Algarve in Portugal. Yeah, so I've got the sunshine to help now, and I've just planted a load of stuff in the garden. First time ever in my life I've done this, but I'm feeling so proud of myself.
Wow, so vegetables galore.
Yeah, vegetables galore, exactly, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not a vegetarian. I do eat anything. I'm an anything-arian, actually, rather than
sustainable anything. Love that. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Favourite band, Elaine?
Dire Straits.
Oh, yeah, now you're talking. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I would concur with that. One of my favourites too. Favourite film? Here we go.
Pretty Woman and Dirty Dancing equally.
Can't beat the oldies, can you? That's brilliant. So thanks very much, Elaine, for being such a sport and being our third guest on I Get to Know You in 5. I hope you enjoyed it too. It was great to put a face to a name for us, and a chance for you to shout out what you do, and your links are in the chat now as well for people to get hold of you if necessary. So we'll say goodbye to now, but thanks very much for being on the show, and thank you again. Brilliant.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you, Elaine.
Bye.
Fantastic. Great. Good stuff. Okay. So I hope you all found that to be interesting and useful. Little sidebar interlude, people. So now back to the show flow again. and we're with Cheryl Harding talking about sales strategy in the real world. So, Cheryl, sort of tell us, does sales training really work then? I mean, you've been talking a little bit about sales training. So, and if so, what kind of sales strategy training do you recommend?
Does sales training work? It's a tricky question. And bear in mind, when I first went out of being a sales director, I went into sales training and stuff. And part of what I do still incorporates sales training. Sales training really works if it's linked to the sales strategy.
Right.
Where it doesn't work is, in my opinion, is sending your people on a public sales training course and expecting it to deliver a great result. What it does is it can teach some general skills. You get an immediate impact, but you get a very low retention in terms of that impact. So I think your sales training has to come off the back of your sales plan, your sales strategy, your sales plan. And where you get the best result is if that sales training incorporates enabling the managers to deliver that sales training in an ongoing fashion. So think of building habits rather than just teaching skills. It's about building habits. They need to understand the skills and be taught them, but then it's about building them into habits.
That's really interesting. That, and it sounds like, what you said very clearly there, Cheryl, is look, just sending your sales folk on a sales sheep dip process doesn't work. It really has to be tailored to your business, your strategy, which is where the sales strategy is massively important, because not only does it affect your own sort of sales and marketing strategy moving forward for lead generation and getting customers clearly, it's also part of, well, how do you then train around that strategy?
It is. And
That's
if we
really
go back to what we said in the beginning about understanding what type of sales you're in, that determines what the skill set is. So in a consultative environment, a big thing is about questioning skills and not just open questions. Also, I could take any open question and give you a closed response. It's a favorite game of mine because
yes, no.
When I'm trying to work with sales groups and they say, "Oh, ask open questions," I'll say, "Ask me any open question." They ask, I give a closed response. They get pretty quickly. It's about how to get a conversation going.
Right.
And that's the key. It's about getting a conversation going.
And how do you do that? What's the training involved in that? What kind of things would help people to get the conversation going?
You take the questions and you teach your people to group them.
Yeah.
I won't go into detail here, but grouping questions is about almost framing a topic and handing that topic over to the prospect to talk about. So, and there's skills and stuff within that, but it's about, if you do that, if you get your people focused on having a conversation, they'll get more information. And the worst question to ever ask, and please don't ever get your people to ask this question, is what keeps you awake at night? It's the one that annoys people the most because it's straight out of a textbook. It's like, and I watched somebody die in front of a group of CEOs by asking that question. And he just didn't get it. He didn't get how to change it. He asked the question to a CEO and they said, "Oh, I sleep fine, thanks."
Yeah.
And then he asked it again. So, well, what would make it? It's just like, oh, just move on. It's a lazy question. It doesn't come across well. So think about how to get your people to have a conversation rather than just asking a question.
So conversation skills are massively important here.
And listening.
Yeah, that curiosity, right?
People talk to me about active listening. I'm like, what is that? You either listen or you don't.
Yeah.
And my poor husband, I'll use him as an example. He'll tell, I'll be on the phone with him, and he's saying the things like, I'll be like, "Chris, is there football on the TV?" And he's like, "How do you know that? It's on silent." It's like, because you're not really listening. but you're making noises to pretend you are. So just listen.
Yeah. So just get involved in the conversation and
It's not
be
rocket
interested.
science. Just be genuinely curious about your client's business. Genuine curiosity and wanting to understand it. And that brings out the conversation.
Yeah, and there are skills around conversation skills as well. So it sounds like part of the training needs to be around, an element of that could be about conversation skills as well, and getting away from standard scripts. Cheryl, that you just said, what keeps you awake at night? Standard scripted question.
Yeah, but people should be able to phrase the questions in their own language.
Yeah.
That's what I mean about that skeleton that you wrap your personality around. Give people the framework of what makes a really good meeting. Give them break that meeting down and then teach them to phrase things in their own language, because it's only when it's in their language, not somebody else's, that it will come across as natural.
Yeah, so it's really picking up the tones from the other person and not just demonstrating empathy, but actually just being part of that empathetic conversation and picking up those clues and cues, folks. I see Matthias has come up with an interesting thing. We were talking about football earlier, one of your comments. Gotcha. Watch when Man United are winning.
Well, yeah, my husband's a Man United fan and they haven't won much recently, I'm Liverpool.
Well said. I like you're a Liverpool fan. Okay, there you go. We won't go there. Brilliant. Oh gosh, yeah. Matthias. Thomas says, rare sight. Definitely rare sighting. Brilliant. Yeah, which is leading on from what you were just saying, I guess. Fantastic. Okay, so Birdie, is there anything I've missed on the conversation side? Let's just give Cheryl a quick break for a minute.
Elaine just said training can be a total waste of time and money. For example, you can't make a non-assertive personality profile into a lion long term. Short-term fixes just don't work and they make the person ill. Guaranteed. Hire the right people profiles and train them in the processes.
Okay. And yet, what we're saying here also is that different personalities can equally do well in sales, right? It's just how you approach it.
They can. It's just they needs to be the right type of sale, the right type of product.
Yeah.
And they need to be in an encouraging environment.
Yeah, a coached environment and bring out that personality and bring out people's strengths.
It's just being really careful. And one of the first external projects I ever did was with a company that had 23 regional sales managers. 22 of them had been recruited as a profile.
Wow. And
nothing was getting done. They'd recruited a profile, not having a mix within the personalities, and so it ended up they were all, if we put it in disc terms, they were all high Ds. So nothing got done because they were too busy arguing with each other and trying to win.
Yeah, trying to win.
Do you know what I mean? It was so, and the one who wasn't that profile, who'd been there longer term, was sitting in the corner just rolling his eyes at the rest of them. So to me, a good team has a whole mix of personalities. They have a whole mix of profiles, and you use people's strengths.
I think that's so true. And plus, strategy is a complex thing. So you get different parts of that strategy and different moving parts. Yeah. So you'll get different personalities at different parts of the strategy. And if you get everybody working together nicely rather than just all chasing the football, it's a bit like watching kids play football is sales sometimes. If you just employ one personality profile, they all go chase the ball in the same way, right?
Yep.
Where actually what you want to do is pass the ball around using the football analogy and different strengths like defenders and goalkeepers and scorers and all that kind of using that analogy. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I saw Jack's point there, training equals death by PowerPoint. Oh my word, you're right.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of shock when I'm running workshops with people and they say, well, what do you need? And I said, a whiteboard and a flip chart. And it's a workshop. The minute you have a big PowerPoint presentation, you turn people into an audience rather than participants. That is the same in the sales environment. So you have to be careful with things like PowerPoints with clients.
Yeah.
and prospects. A lot of times, and it shouldn't happen, that first meeting with a new prospect, companies go in with a PowerPoint.
Yeah, don't they just? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ditch the
And,
PowerPoint, folks.
Yep, ditch the PowerPoint. People are not interested in the history of your business and the journey and that map that shows all the places that you've done projects. They don't care. They don't care. Send it
Okay.
ahead of time. They wouldn't be giving you the time in their diary if they didn't already know you're credible.
Yeah, true. So, and you can get much more credibility by getting around a whiteboard and just teasing stuff out, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Berdine, take us away, because we're kind of coming to a point where we need to wrap up very quickly. But just wrap us up in the comments. So we'll just finish the comments.
Maria said, yes, real conversation instead of
Absolutely.
false corporate speak.
Yeah.
And she also said, yes, a mix of personality, all with a positive and resilient mindset.
Yeah, spot
And
on.
then Matthias just mentioned with regards to the football, 1-3-0 against the Bees yesterday, though.
They did, but they're so reliant on Ronaldo.
The main sales guy is Ronaldo, right? Okay. Oh, brilliant. I love this. What a conversation. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. Berdine?
Jack said, I coach kids and use the same process to help people in my workplace.
Yeah.
Take away age. It's the same process. A child needs to learn how to kick a ball first before playing in a match.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jack.
Absolutely.
Thomas said, podcasting is quite a hybrid form of marketing. It forces the sales and marketing strategy to work in unison. The podcast host basically becomes a salesperson. What are your thoughts on influencer marketing?
Lovely.
Did you want an answer to?
Yeah,
I
please.
think influencer
Yes.
marketing is really good especially in business to consumer, Where influencer marketing can come into play in the business to business is if you have like a guest speaker, and you can do it in a podcast, but you can do round tables. A lot of times I'll see people that want to come more for the guest speaker, which is fine. If your company facilitates that, don't make it a pitch about your business. Facilitate that, and you'll be seen as being integral to it. So I think influencer marketing works. It doesn't work on its own.
Great. Thank you. That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Wow. We could go on for ages, but people have got their day jobs to get on with. So, yeah, let's wrap us up. Thank you ever so much, Cheryl. Tell us a little bit about your own. Let's just get your CTA slide up here, call to action. So, yeah, Cheryl, do you just want to give us a final word on what you'd like, or things that will be helpful for you or for the audience, in terms of what you've been talking about today?
Yeah, I mean, I've sent you a PDF, I think, that has some of a slide deck that will help people with turning strategy into revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, I just say to people, if you want to connect with me, connect with me. And if you have any questions, just send them to me.
Lovely.
And I will be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Yeah, and we'll put all of Cheryl's contact details in, as you can see on this slide here. We'll put all those in the.
I was going to say that website, that's Surefire. I think that's an old one. So
okay, the Surefire one doesn't work, so you can forget that one.
So it's just Effectiv8, but just contact me. Feel happy to give me a shout.
Thank you. And Cheryl, we're going to put this document in the feed as well, which is the 7 steps to turning a strategy into revenue, and we look at various other bits here. It's all very nicely done. Map out your process, what it should be, profile roles that you need, and your CRM for the ideal processes, etc. There's a lot of detail in there, folks. So targets and commissions and habits and things. So we'll get that document out as well as a bit of added value. So thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic to have you on the show. And what a canter through. I can't believe it's been such a busy feed as well. So I hope you found that useful, folks. And Cheryl has given you food for thought about sales strategy in the real world. And as I said, we'll add the comprehensive strategy document at the very end, and we'll put that in the link if it's not there already. So yeah, quick one from me. So thanks again, Cheryl, for enlightening us today, and we love having you on the show. This show will be on podcast too, folks, shortly in the next 24 hours to 48 hours. So please also join our LinkedIn Leaderslive group. We'll put a link of that into the feed as well very shortly, and you can continue the conversation by moving over there. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, folks, and all those links will be in the feed if they're not there already. So before I get on to what's next week, folks, quick word on what's the purpose and the why with Leaderslive. And it all starts with an idea and a passion that you and me, all of us, are more than we think. And you are more than you think. And we also are building a community of like-minded folks, which is really important to us. And this is particularly relevant to building back better businesses, particularly after the last 2 years, folks. And our motto here is I to the power of we all grow together. So the Leaderslive is a freely available edutaining expression of this, and anyone can join in, particularly if you're a CEO of an SME company, you are an entrepreneur, a senior manager, starting up a new business or whatever. So we all want to take part in extraordinary conversations, which we've just had today about an extraordinary conversation about sales. So, and through these simple ideas and concepts, we aim to make a difference and make the world a better place, folks. So we want to bring a spirit of freedom, of joy and of fun and a feel-good factor in all of our working lives. So a quick point about what I do. So I speak at events, so keynote speaking, and I host events too. I facilitate top teams and strategy processes, and also conversational skills as well, folks. We'll be talking about today how important that is for sales teams. I do a lot of that kind of work. I develop high performance teams and sales teams, and I'm a fully qualified executive coach. And if you're a CEO of an SME company, you can have a conversation with me about joining Inspired CEOs, a really interesting community of like-minded people. So the goose for next week, folks. So next on Tuesday, the 10th of May at 8:45 a.m. UK time, we'll be hanging out with our very own Joe Cooper, who was on the Get to Know You in 5 a couple of weeks ago. So we'll be chatting about, is print dead? And remember, when things are continually printed, we remember those days, right, when things were continually printed on real paper. But with the digital everything movement in full swing, is there really a need for the hard copy still? Joe will argue absolutely yes. So to find out a bit more about that and to find out why, join us next week, folks. So be there or be square. We're going to wrap up now with our wrap-up scene. Hopefully this will work. Yep. So we're going to say goodbye to you, folks. It's been great hanging out with you today, guys. Thanks very much for being part of this show and creating such a great vibe and a great community. And we can't do this without you, folks. So we'll all be clearing up this confetti for ages. So in the meantime, that's a wrap, folks, from Cheryl, from the wonderful Birdine, and me. We wish you a great week ahead. Cheers for now, everybody. You can bop along to the music. That's a wrap, folks. Cheers for now. Bye-bye. Ta-ra a bit.